Well, I might have to get the cerveza sickness jab. What? Yes. This is not clickbait. This is real shit. I'm about to explain it. I am Caleb Jones. This is Sovereign CEO. I teach people just like you how to create location-independent businesses, move to a less bad country, or at least set up an international plan B and do all those things with very little money. This is a follow-up video, sort of a part 2 to a video I just did a while back about you guys freaking out about cerveza sickness passports. And if you have not seen that video, I strongly recommend you watch it. You can click right there to watch that to get some context. In that video, I said a lot of things, but 2 of the things that I said were that 1, you shouldn't freak out about rumors you hear on the internet or on Reddit or on YouTube, or a scary article about politicians are possibly talking about doing this. Instead, you should only freak out, if freak out is even a valid reaction to anything. You should only concern yourself with things that actually happen. Laws that have actually been passed by governments, all the branches of government, and implemented into law with real dates. I said that very clearly several times. I also said in that video that it is possible that due to my international lifestyle and due to my strong need for mobility, because as I've talked about many times here at Sovereign CEO, you are not free if you're locked into one country. You are not free if you're locked into one country. If you don't have international mobility, you are not free. And so because of my desire to be free forever, no matter what happens, it is possible, I said, that I may have to get the cerveza sickness jab sooner rather than later. I said in that video I didn't really mind if I had to get the jab 5 years from now or 10 years from now, but I did say that I might be forced to get it much sooner, as in this year or next year or what have you. So that all brings me back to my second home, the country of Paraguay. So I mentioned in that video that Paraguay enacted a mandatory 5-day isolation in order to visit the country. And unfortunately, that has just changed. I will actually read this right here, a quote I got from one of my attorneys just in the last few days. And here's the quote. I have at hand the last official communication from the Health Ministry of República de Paraguay, dated January 12, 2022, listing the conditions to enter Paraguay for Paraguayan citizens or foreign citizens with a residency permit. So pause right there. I am a legal resident of Paraguay. I don't have a passport there, but I have a legal full-time residency there. This will become very relevant in a minute. If you do not have a jab certificate and a negative PCR test taken within the last 48 hours, you will be refused entrance at the airport. The full jab with 1 dose is also accepted in the case of the Johnson jab, as long as it was administered at least 2 weeks prior to the entrance. I verified this with my staff and with a different attorney. Not only this is that Paraguay is now closed to tourism. So if you are just visiting Paraguay as a tourist, my understanding is you can't even go to Paraguay at all. They are only allowing legal residents. And as always, these situations are very fluid. This could change or change slightly or change greatly by the time you watch this video. That's possible. But now, as of now, at least for the time being, and they may relax this later, you will only be able to go to Paraguay if you are a legal resident, that would be me, and you have received the jab. Now, let me cover a few things. Number 1, top of the list. Isn't it good that I'm a resident there? If I was not a resident there, if I was just a visa hopper, I would be screwed. I would not be able to go at all. All of you guys asking, why bother getting residency? Why not just visa hop? This has been my answer for the past several years. If there is a major problem, they can bar you from your own country. So if you live in a country where you are not a resident or a citizen, you're just doing the visa hopping thing, if there's ever a problem down the road, you can be blocked from ever returning to that country. And if you have a home in that country and assets in that country, possessions in that country, women or girlfriends in that country, friends or family in that country, you're going to be screwed because you didn't get residency. I have residency, so now I'm protected. Isn't it a good thing that I bothered to get residency? Isn't it a good thing that I didn't rely on just visa hopping? As I've said before, I have residency, legal residency now in 5 different countries, soon to be 6 different countries. And so this allows me to make sure that I am mobile and free to go wherever I want, or at least the key areas of where I want to go, even during pandemics, even during things like crises, economic crises, wars, and various other things. As this recording this video, it looks like we may have a full-scale war between Russia and Ukraine. Similar scenario there. This is why it is so critical to get residency in your primary flags. We live in a collapsing Western world. We live in a world that is entering into a political and economic dark age. You don't want to rely on visa hopping long-term for one of your primary flags. If you're just visiting a country, that's fine. But if you're going to set that up as one of your primary flags, or you're going to live there, either full-time or part-time, you've got to get residency there. If you need help, by the way, on how to get residency in Paraguay, Panama, Armenia, or Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, we are releasing or re-releasing the Get Residency course at getresidency.io. That will be available on February 16th. And if you get it during that launch weekend, we will give you a big discount on it. So getresidency.io, mark your calendars for February 16th. That course literally shows you step-by-step how to get residency in those 4 countries and a listing of attorney firms that you could utilize in those countries that we know are good. This is becoming more important now. And as I've talked about many times, and I'm demonstrating this yet again, 5 flags, international lifestyle, multiple passports, multiple residencies, and things of that nature were a fun thing. They were an interesting, helpful thing to do 10 years ago. Today, in the collapsing Western world, into this dark age in which we are entering into, they are mandatory if you want to live a free lifestyle. I'm going to say this again. If you are stuck in one country and you're not allowed to leave that country, or you don't have any other residencies or passports anywhere else in the world, you're going to be in big, big, big trouble as the world continues to worsen in the next several decades. I would not want to be you. You need to get on this now. You should have gotten on this 5 years ago, 10 years ago when I told you to. Now you're late. You better get on this now. So the next piece to this is that, yes, if I want to visit my second home of República de Paraguay, and I do. I actually have a lot of stuff there. I have women there. I have contacts there. I love Paraguay. It's wonderful. I'm going to have to get the jab. And I'm going to have to get it relatively soon. And this is complicated because this could be one of those things where Paraguay is just freaking out because of the Unicron variant. I know that's not the way it's pronounced. I pronounce it that way because of YouTube. And maybe in a few months, they may relax and say, okay, now you don't need a jab to come here. That's entirely possible. Now, that may not be the case because most countries in South America now, the majority of them, the majority of the big ones, now mandate some kind of jab if you're coming from a Western country. There are exceptions, and it's a little complicated. I'm kind of generalizing here, but it looks like what Paraguay has done is basically copied the other countries in South America who went insane and did this a while ago, countries like Brazil and Colombia, things like that. So maybe this is a permanent policy. Maybe this is a temporary policy. I don't know. But I do know that I want to go back there this year. And I need to go back there this year for several reasons. Now, I'm going to go to the United States, unfortunately, in February. And I will be in the United States for 2 months. I'm kind of front-loading my 3 months that I'm allowed to be in the USA for this year. I'm going to stay there for about 2 months. And then I'm not going to go back to the United States for the rest of the year other than for seminars and business appointments and things of that nature. And so once I'm done there, that would be around April, my plan is to go back to Paraguay. And so if that policy remains, I'm going to have to get the jab at that time. So what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? Do I want to get the jab? No. Am I an anti-vaxxer? No, I'm not against jabs. I think that's fine. I think they're fine under certain conditions. I just would like to wait several years before having to do this. However, if I am forced to get the jab much sooner, as in the next few months, I will do it. I don't like that I have to do it. I am upset that I have to do it, but I'm going to do it. Now, could I break the law and do something weaselly? Yes, I could, but I'm a public figure. And so if I broke the law and somehow said I had the jab and I really didn't, I would have to lie to my audience for the rest of my life, because you'd see me in countries where jabs are required and you'd say, oh, I guess Caleb got the jab, right? You got the jab, right, Caleb? And I'd say, yeah. And I'd be lying, and I can't lie to you, as I've talked about in prior podcasts, prior videos. So because I'm a public figure, because I don't want to spend the rest of my life lying, I'm going to have to do this. So what I have decided to do, and this is not a solid decision yet, I'm still researching this as I'm recording this video, is to get the Chinese jab, because there are many different jabs. There's a Russian jab, there's a Chinese jab. The United States has 3 different jabs. There's a UK jab. Of all the jabs, my understanding is, and you're free to tell me in the comments, because a lot of you guys are much more knowledgeable about this than I am, because I don't really research this stuff, because as usual, I don't fear the cerveza sickness. I don't care. I have the antibodies anyway because I had it in November. But my understanding is that the Chinese jab is the weakest of the jabs. Matter of fact, there's a joke here in Dubai that getting injected with the Chinese jab is like getting injected with water. Great. That's the jab I'll take. That's the jab for me. The one that does the least amount of changes to your body. Hell to the yes. And here in Dubai, I'm actually able to get the Chinese jab. Some of the more Western countries don't have it or don't allow it. Gotta love the authoritarian West. So that's probably what I will end up doing. The advantage for that is the Chinese jab is recognized internationally because statistically, most people in the world, or I believe half of the people in the world who have been jabbed with the Chinese jab. It's the most common jab in the entire world. Interesting. So it is recognized in South America, Asia, all over the world. The only country that actually specifies you need a jab to get into our country, but we will not accept the Chinese jab is Canada. By the way, fuck Canada. The things I've seen happen with Canada over the past few weeks, it's becoming as bad as Australia, if not worse. Apparently now you can't even leave Canada unless you've been jabbed. Get the fuck out of Canada, you Canadian beta males. What the hell are you doing living in Canada? Get on a non-Canadian airline because they don't check for the jab stuff and get out of Canada. There are a lot of you Canadians, because I'm getting your emails, there's a lot of you Canadians who wished you took my advice 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago on getting location-dependent income so you can be mobile and have international mobility, and now you're screwed. You can't leave your authoritarian, collapsing country. I have said historically, by the way, that Europe will collapse first, the United States will collapse second, Canada will collapse third. If Canada keeps going the way it's been going, and it probably will, because much like the Australians, the Canadians just take it. Unlike Americans, they just say, okay, just take our rights away, no problem. If that's the case, I may have to revise that. Maybe Canada will go sooner than the United States. I mean, it's entirely possible. I can't believe I'm saying this, but such is the collapsing world in which we live. Anyway, sorry for the tangent on Canada. So, barring Canada, I can go just about anywhere I want in the world with my wonderful Chinese jab, and it will actually make things a lot easier. There are places in Asia that I like to visit this year for Five Flags reasons, and that'll actually make the fact that I've been jabbed a little easier, even though I'm not very happy about having to get the jab. Like I said, I have not made a solid decision on this, and I do have a few months to kind of figure this out and get more research. You are free to tell me in the comments what you would do if you were me, knowing that something illegal is not an option. So anybody that suggests anything illegal, I will ignore that comment. But barring that, what would you do if you were me? Would you take a jab? Would you not take a jab? If you would take a jab, would you get the Chinese jab? Is there a less bad jab I could get? Sometimes you guys have creative solutions. And in this scenario, I am very willing to listen to your ideas because at some point in the next few months, I'm probably going to have to do this if Paraguay and other South American countries, by the way, because there are other South American countries that I use as flags. If South America has this psycho thing about you need to have a jab to come here, but we'll accept the Chinese jab, I may have to do that, and I may just have to suck it up and do it. And 2% rule in terms of problems with the jab, especially the weaker Chinese jab. Cool. We'll see what happens. I will keep you updated on this as time goes on. If there's a change in this scenario, and there very well could be because things change all the time, I will let you know. Until then, you should watch that video where I talk about jab passports and the panic around those. It's right here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Have fun. Bye.